This one's unbelievable. A former teacher in Marietta, Georgia, admits to having a sexual relationship with a 17-year-old student. Here's what the judge said. I'm quoting here. "It's gross, it's awful, but it ain't illegal." Unquote. What? Christopher King, there he is, 36. He was married, 2 small kids, yet he was having sex with this teen girl. They go shopping, go to dinner, go to the movies. And because she testified the affair was consensual, he's a free man and was just found not guilty of sexual assault charges. We'll take your calls on this. 1-877-TEL-HLN's the number. Joining us, Scott Semrau, Christopher King's attorney. He joins us. Also with us, Vinny Politan, my colleague, host of In Session. Scott, I'll start with you. Loophole or not, does your client admit what he did was morally wrong to start up an affair with a student?
Yeah, when we were at trial, we defended on the ground that it was bad, it was a bad idea, it certainly was taboo, but it wasn't illegal. Okay.
What about you personally? I've got to ask you, take this where you want, but and I know you defended him, and you won. Do you think personally it's wrong that because of some loophole that now other teachers could use this as an excuse to prey on our kids and have sex with them?
Yeah, well, it's not a loophole. In Georgia, a 17-year-old is legally competent to choose their sexual partners. Now, I have a 15-year-old daughter in high school, and, you know, no parent would ever suggest to their daughter that they go and have an affair with a substantially older man. In this case, 19 years older. So I can't imagine anyone would ever suggest that it's a good idea. It certainly isn't.
Exactly. Let's listen to the pain of a father. This is the father of the student who had the affair with Chris King. Here's what he says. "It's a crime if he is not asked to answer for what he did. It is indescribably painful to see something like this happen to your daughter. It has totally influenced her teenage years, and it has devastated my family. The Chase decision, that was the decision that led to the Georgia Supreme Court getting it wrong, in my view. But anyway, that's what led to this. The Chase decision means that parents no longer have the security of knowing they can send their children to school without a teacher preying on them." Scott, one more to you, then I'll get Vinny in. Wouldn't you like to see that loophole closed so the teacher-student relationship is not a sexual one, no matter if the student says it's okay and consensual?
Yeah, right now the law is so broad. You know, we need to tighten that up just a little bit. I mean, we need to decide whether we want to limit a 17-year-old's ability or a 16-year-old's ability or an 18-year-old's ability to choose their sexual partners. I mean, is it just teachers, or maybe we should say coaches, preachers, bosses?
Exactly.
You know, I don't know, but I think the legislature has a lot to talk about, and they're going to have to decide at what age you can and can't pick your own sexual partner.
Yeah, let's bring Vinny in on this. Vinny, I mean, it's just, to me anyway, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers, it's just an abuse of power. Teacher-student relationship, come on.
Yeah, and you talk about consent. I mean, can a student in high school really consent to having that affair with the person that they look up to, their teacher, even if it's their coach, whatever that situation is? You've got an adult, you've got a child in school, and yes, by the letter of the law, the right decision was probably made here. But Georgia's got to work on this, because I remember, Mike, the Gennaro Wilson case. There you had a high school kid having sex with another high school kid. He served 2 years in prison. This teacher is walking out, and yes, the law says it's okay, and the judge made the right decision, but it's the legislature's got to go in there and do something about this.
Yeah, we believe they're going to close it up, close that loophole, and change the law January 11th when the next legislative session begins. Let's listen to the student on the stand talking about initial feelings that this wasn't appropriate. Let's listen to that.
Initially, I remember reading it, and I was like, well, that's inappropriate. I wasn't nervous. I wasn't, like, freaked out or anything. But I remember being like, this is awesomely crazy.
Were you flattered by it?
Oh, yes, I was definitely flattered.
Well, that just says inappropriate, her initial response, and then flattered. You know, that's an impressionable young girl. Scott, let me ask you, was that a note that we were trying to clarify that? Can you clarify that for us? Did you pass her a note to get things going?
Well, she was a journalism student for the newspaper, and the testimony there referred to an email or a text that said something to the effect that, you know, if I was your age, you would be someone that I'd be interested in.
That was his quote to her?
That's what the testimony was, yes.
Wow. Boy, that sure sounds like preying to me, Vinny. Someone preying on a kid. Your thoughts?
Oh, absolutely. But the problem is, again, the letter of the law, and it's got to be changed in Georgia. Think about the relationship and think about consent. What is consent? Consent isn't just saying the words, but being able to understand everything that you're doing and the position of power that one person has over another, especially when the other is a student in high school.
Yeah, let's get a call in. Linda is with us in Maine. Hi, Linda, your thoughts on this?
Hi, yeah, my comment is, it may not be legally wrong, but it is definitely morally wrong. And the teacher, like he said, is in the position of authority. And when you're approaching a 17-year-old girl, at first it's flattering because you're dealing with a 17-year-old psyche, you know?
Exactly.
And I think that the teacher is almost like a predator to me when he would do something like that. He knows how a child thinks, how a 17-year-old girl thinks. And I think he's a predator.
Yeah, I'm definitely praying from what we heard.
Mike, if I could jump in here,
Dive
Mike.
in, Vinny.
Here, consciousness of guilt is something else we talk about in the law. And I am sure this affair was not out in the open. He wasn't going over to pick her up and say hi to the parents and everything. So he knew what he was doing was wrong. That's why they're sneaking around doing it. And I think that should be the test on whether or not the legislature should take action on this. They're sneaking around. They know what they're doing is wrong.
Could consciousness of guilt been something a prosecutor used in this case? Or you're thinking more after the fact?
I'm thinking after the fact.
Okay.
Guilt of what?
Well, that's the problem. He knew exactly what he was doing was wrong. Now, again, not criminally illegal, but wrong. And that's what our criminal laws must address, is this behavior. Because if it's okay and it should be legal, then there should be no need to sneak around to do it.
Well, I think what's interesting about the issue is there's always going to be something that someone doesn't approve of. I mean, no one wants their daughter to become a stripper. No one wants their son or daughter to engage in any kind of taboo relationship.
Hey, if my daughter's 17 years old and being a stripper, that's illegal.
So the question is, where are we going to draw that line? And I think you're right. I think that's something the legislature has to look at.
We have to draw the line with teachers and students, and it's just inappropriate and wrong for there to be any kind of sexual relationship. This sends a chill down the spine, I'm sure, of every parent in Georgia, especially, I would say I have sons, but I'm sure even more so if you have a daughter in school, and this could be an open door. Well, it could, from what we've seen, hey, my sons could be in trouble too. Oh, I shudder to think.